Welcome to Cage Free Voices Radio, an innovative educational entertainment radio show where youth and young adults have the opportunity to see themselves even if the world is blind. Remember, guys, I said that every now and then we'll have an expert up here, and today we're talking about young adults, youth and young adults in relationships, how to cultivate a healthy love life with Andrea Davis. And let me tell you a little bit about how I met Andrea. I was actually performing at an event for Mrs. Janelle, the Janelle Boyd, from Completely Yours Events. And she had a book launch party. And while I was there, I did my performance and I connected with Andrea. Andrea, say something to the people.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. That performance was so amazing. This woman got up there and just her choice of words, her ability to communicate that message where it can resonate, where it can sink, sit, and feel within somebody. That was like, it was amazing. So I had to connect with you with the project that I wanted to do. That was very sincere and dear to my heart. So yes.
So I understand. So I know your organization is called Entyse Lyfe Weddings and Events. Talk a little bit about how you got started. How did you arrive at this place of planning events? Because this is not an easy job.
Not at all. This is something that you have to do when you love it. Like you don't do it just because you're in it for the glitz, the glam, the fame, or anything like that. You do wedding planning and event planning because you love it, because you like to see people come together and celebrate, and it's all in love. Because when you're doing anything like this, where it's very detail oriented, there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of different stress. You have to be coming from a place of love so that you're centered and balanced to take it all on.
So because I know you're doing an event called Couples Date Night, and the reason that I know about it is because I'm in it.
I cannot wait.
Ooh, gotta prepare. But we're talking about like youth and young adults, and I know you have a lot of experience working with weddings and watching people prepare for major events like marriages.
Yes.
What would you say would be like the starting place for somebody who is considering like getting into a relationship? Where do they need to start first with themselves?
Ooh, okay. This is perfect. So honestly, you have to stop and take a look at yourself first. You're right. You have to start within yourself. You have to be self-aware. You have to be able to know what it is you want, and then also be in a space where you can communicate that to someone else. Because what we're lacking from a lot of relationships today is the basic understanding of communication and how to express how we feel to one another. There's a way that we can communicate without bringing anyone else down, without hurting anyone else's feelings, but still expressing how we feel and being able to move forward from that place. Because people they tend to get stuck in one place, but in order to keep moving forward, you got to keep that communication open.
How do you keep that healthy balance? Because I'm thinking about myself, right?
Yeah.
I know that I have gone from like stuffing my feelings to I'm just going to tell you everything on my mind. So now I'm trying to figure out how to tell you my truth without imposing completely on yours, right? And being vulnerable, because we talk about being authentic with one another, right? Being honest, but it's very hard to live in a space where two people are 100% authentic with one another. How do you find that balance? How do you find a balance between your truth and also being able to communicate that in a way where it provides grace and somebody can receive it?
Well, first you have to kind of take a look and assess the situation. Like, you have to be able to even communicate the fact that, how is my communication working out for you?
Ooh,
you got to have that conversation, because it's a part of evaluation. See, we just do things and we don't have a form of evaluation behind it to see if they're working or not. Then how can we possibly say that something's not working? Maybe it's just that we need to tweak it here, or maybe just a little bit here, and then we can make it work. work, because balance is, again, it's about that duality. It's about that flow, that motion, that synergy. So when you're coming together, you'll be able to communicate these things and just let someone know, hey, is this what you're looking for? And they have to be able to communicate too. It's not just on your part. They have to be able to express. So it's a back and forth, so that it's constantly balanced.
When I think about it, and in that question you just said, you said, how is my communication working? I don't think I've ever asked anybody that. I may have said it in different ways, but I think that's an excellent question to ask, and not just in oral communication. Like, we communicate in various ways, not just oral, not written, but like even nonverbal communication. What would you say is the most pressing factor in terms of communication that impacts relationships? Is it oral communication, written communication, or nonverbal communication, or is it a combination of the three?
It's definitely a combination, but we are less aware of our nonverbal communication. Like we're almost blind to that. It's like we kind of go through our day and we're expressing ourselves, but we're not really taking into account like how that can come across to someone else. It's crazy. I even have to do this with my children, but I tell my son sometimes when he does a little sigh, I'm like, do you know you're huffing and puffing? He's like, Mom, I'm not huffing and puffing. But you are. You may not realize it, but it's a sign of frustration. And so now I'm curious to know more. And when your spouse comes in and it's the same thing, what's wrong with you? Yeah. So our nonverbal sparks the verbal sometimes. It's just the things that we do in motion. And we have to be able to also kind of recognize patterns like that. You know what I mean? In our significant others. Like if we see a pattern of this nonverbal, then we know there's something there. And those are the questions that we need to be asking.
Yeah, and it's really complex because I'm thinking about because I'm divorced, right? And you were talking about like the questions you need to ask yourself before you get into a relationship, and now getting down to like nonverbal cues. Yeah. Sometimes it's really hard to read those cues. Yeah. I don't know how much I placed an emphasis on looking at nonverbal cues, because somebody could be saying one thing, but their body language communicates something else.
Well, that's why you ask the question. When you sighed just like that, how were you feeling? What made you sigh like that? Because it could have been something really simple. He could have been like thinking about the game earlier, like, man, my team lost. yeah. But if you don't ask the question, then you don't know, and you can assume that sigh was about you. Yes, and that's where communication comes into hand. Again, it goes back to, are you able to jump in and catch that and say, hey, what is this? And communicate that so you know you could log it for later. Oh, when he sighed, it might just be about the game, and now I don't need to stress about that anymore. That's really good. Because we've been talking about communication for some time, and I know communication is key in relationships. Is there anything else that you would say like speaks loudly to you when you think about like keeping a healthy or fostering this development of a healthy relationship aside from communication? Yes, patience goes a long way. And we, as like this new generation, we're so impatient. But patience goes a long way because with every new process, it takes time to learn. Yeah. You had to take time to learn how to walk. You had to take time to learn how to ride a bike. You had to take time to learn to get through the levels of school and education that you are to get to your job. It's going to take time to learn how to love this person. And seeing as though the only thing that is consistent is change, that person is going to change a little bit over time, so you're going to have to learn to love them a little bit different over time. And it doesn't mean that your love changes. It just means that you're flowing with the nature of change. Okay, so this is so good. I'm getting excited because I'm thinking about because we're talking, like right now, we have really looked at young adults in our communication. Yeah. For youth who are getting into relationships, 16, 17, even some who are 14, 13, there are things that, because how we define love is very key, very key. What are some of the things that you would say people should not be putting up with or being patient with in a relationship? Oh, absolutely. So the first thing is disrespect. We have to stop allowing disrespect in our space. We have to be able to kind of stand strong in who we are, first of all, to be in a relationship, because in a relationship you're constantly giving. So if you're not grounded and really strong in who you are, and not allowing things to sway and move you and kind of make you feel some kind of way, and that's the problem. We're allowing so much, everything from, oh, he liked this photo on Instagram to, I think he's still talking to this girl. We're allowing so many things to sway and move who we are. When you're strong and just kind of grounded in who you are, then you don't let that kind of take over you.
I was talking to a couple of young people, and I know they tend to think that those who are trying to be committed in relationships, or even actually committed, when is it unhealthy commitment?
When you cannot be alone. When you are to the point where you have to be in a relationship, where you cannot be single, when you need someone by your side, and you see, there's a beauty in being in a relationship and having your space too. Yeah. There's a beauty to that.
Me time.
You do. And that's, again, not getting lost in that person. And I know for young women, we tend to get caught up in this romance, this fantasy, this belief, this fairy tale of Prince Charming that we wanted for so long, and it's easier to believe in that. But
some of us are putting up with stuff like people constantly cheating on us all the time, being even in domestic violence relationships.
Yes.
Because they think that it's healthy. Like, they think to stay is better than to leave.
Yeah, no, it's okay to be alone. It's okay because then you get to learn yourself in a way that you wouldn't necessarily get a chance to do in a relationship. It gives you a chance to be more intimate with yourself. You have to understand what it is you want before you jump back into the next relationship. If you don't give yourself that space and time, you're going to keep falling for the same guy over and over and over again, or the same girl. It's going to be the same pattern of relationships that keep you in a constant loop. And then you get to a point where it's really just a way of life for you.
What would you say is a sufficient amount of time to give yourself space? I mean, because we really got to break this down. We really have to break it down.
A good amount of time to give yourself space, at the very minimum, I would give yourself 4 seasons. That's 1 year. Give yourself, 4 seasons, and give yourself a spring to yourself, a summer to yourself, a fall, a winter. You can enjoy each season to yourself. Take that time to really invest in you. What is it about yourself that you love about yourself? Take time to explore that a little bit more. I think a lot of times it's the simple things that bring us joy, and if we kind of focus on those things and not get so overwhelmed about the things we can't control, then we'll be okay.
For those people who have spent that time, that time and space, they've given themselves 4 seasons, maybe even 8, maybe 12. Wait, I'm at 16.
Yes.
How should they, or how can they transition into opening themselves up? Because it could be very traumatizing for people who have experienced significant loss, or even trauma in relationships. How can they transition back into like the dating scene, or courting somebody who's pursuing them? What would you say to that?
Well, see, that's a tricky one, because I'm one of those that's had a few seasons. So I know how difficult it can be, especially with the dating scene the way that it is now. Like, it's just not what you would think it would be at all. So really, it's about trying to find a diamond in the rough. It's about trying to find someone that's on the same plane as you. And so you're looking for more more of a needle in the haystack, but that just means that your search is refined, and
like
that's
that.
okay. So that's a good thing. You know, we don't need them to be popping up everywhere. We need them to be somewhere, you know, where not that many people know where he is, and you'll find them, because then you're looking for different qualities. Yeah. You're looking for different actions, different words, different patterns,
and somebody who aligns with your purpose, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that's another thing. When you're spending that time to yourself, your seasons, you should be focusing on your purpose, because that's going to drive you exactly where you need to be. That's going to take you along your path, and everything that you need is already on the path for you. You just haven't found your way to that path yet.
I like that. I like that. And we're going to talk about purpose in another episode. Yeah. But I know that purpose is it's important to meet with somebody or to connect with somebody, whether it's a friend or it's a romantic relationship, for you guys to be in tune. Because let's just say, you know, you fall head over heels for somebody and y'all get married, y'all have a baby, and your spouse is saying, hey, I have always had a dream of living in South Africa and doing missions. And you're like, no, I've always had a dream of being in the United States and just pursuing my singing career. Now you have conflict because you guys are on two different pages, and you never, you know, approach that situation at the onset of even considering a relationship. So thank you so much, Andrea. Tell us a little bit about Entyse Lyfe. And how that's coming along.
Yes. So Entyse Lyfe is my baby. It's a wedding and event planning company that I started 4 years ago. And really, I didn't have any experience in the wedding and event industry. I kind of just dove in. And it's really taught me a lot. It's given me a chance to work with a lot of couples, a lot of soon-to-be married couples, a lot of currently married couples that I still hang out with because I love working with them. And so it's given me a chance in a way. I'm kind of like their therapist. Like, they tell me a lot, you know.
Girl, you could be ready when you get ready to jump the broom.
I know. It's like I know so many things about the strains of day-to-day life on a relationship. And there's a lot of things that come into play when you go through things like that. But Entyse Lyfe is all about fun and excitement. I came up with a name because I was like, I wanted something so enticing, so interesting that life herself had to stop and take notice. And that's like, you know, that's that
you sure core. You're not a poet?
I might be a poet. But it's really about that sense of joy, that uncontrollable excitement, that something that, you know, you see it and you're like, why are they so happy? I want some of that. I want some of that. So
those images for your couples date night are definitely enticing.
Yes.
What's happening with that?
Oh my gosh. So couples date night is so much fun. Just on the premise of what my purpose is and bringing people together, I wanted to create an experience for couples to come out and really have a fun night out while also strengthening the unity and communication within their relationship. So it's a purpose-driven event. That's why I said it's never been done like this before. You've gone to a fun event just for the sake of it being fun. This has a purpose, a meaning, a bringing together that we're trying to do, and also having a lot of fun while doing it. So we have music, we have spoken word, we have a comedy battle where we're going to have a male and female comic kind of show the duality of dating and relationships from both personalities. You know, kind of perspectives. So also we're going to do a surprise in the second part of the night, and I'm going to tell you because I know I haven't really put it out there, but I'm putting it out there today. We are going to do a couples game show. Yes, we are going to invite couples to come up and play in an interactive, fun way where you'll be competing for prizes that's based on teamwork. So you got to come up there and really work together. But we're giving away a helicopter tour for 2 of Manhattan.
Wow.
We're giving away a boudoir photography session.
Wow.
Yes. And we have a couple of other prizes that I'm still like cooking up because I want to give away other chances to do fun things together as a couple. That's awesome. That's the whole thing. I want more couples to communicate, interact, engage, kind of build together because I have this theory. if we can work on building strong, healthy relationships, we can build strong, healthy families that will build strong, healthy societies.
Right.
And that's what we need. We need to start back at the foundation.
And where I love that. Where can people find out more about you, and where is the event being held?
Absolutely. The event is going to be held at a new hotel in Arlington, Le Meridian. It overlooks Georgetown. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can go online to entyselife.com/couples date night to go ahead and pick up tickets. And we'll also have some available on Eventbrite if you look up couples date night.
And can you spell out Entyse Lyfe?
Absolutely. It's spelled funky. I did it this way. Guys, I couldn't do it the regular way because it wouldn't be me, but it's spelled ENTYSELYFE.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrea. We are so happy that you joined us today. Guys, remember to see yourselves even if the world is blind. Reflect, connect, and transcend every internal and external barrier that will try to cage your voice. Be cage free. Thank you.